Hello and welcome to this edition of Safe and Sound. I'm Bob Watts. As we turn the corner into spring, we would like to pass on some tips and information that may help you with some of the tasks you may soon be undertaking. Mary Grau, nurse with the St. Charles County Department of Health, will have some general safety tips for the outdoors. And we'll also speak with Ryan Tilley about if you come across some hazardous materials while spring cleaning. We will have with us Charlene Waggoner to talk about Mission Clean Stream, and we have information for you about literacy. But first joining me is Bob Schnur, Director of Finance for St. Charles County Government, and we're going to talk about the big spring task of filing taxes. Bob, thanks for being here.
Sure.
Bob, even though you look at it from a little different angle as the Finance Director for St. Charles County, you do keep yourself abreast of all the tax laws and changes for individual income taxes and taxes they need to file. So tell us what's new and exciting with filing your income tax this year.
Well, Bob, at the end of 2012, there was a lot of discussion about the fiscal cliff. And a lot of people didn't realize that while the fiscal cliff was kind of this nebulous term about things that Congress was doing and the President, and they were all kind of posturing politically, the fiscal cliff had enormous ramifications to the average taxpayer in the United States. And a lot of the things that they finally got around to dealing with. Actually, I believe it was in right at the end of the year, or maybe the first day or so of 2013, really put into place some of the measures that kept the whole tax scheme for the average individual taxpayer pretty level with prior years.
So how does this impact someone who's ready to file their taxes this year?
Well, most taxpayers now in 2013 for 2012 won't see many changes in their tax return thanks to the resolution of Congress and the President over the fiscal cliff issues. The tax scenario for an average taxpayer won't be largely different in 2013 as it was when they filed a year ago. There is a provision that is new, although it was a temporary provision that's been in place for the last 2 years, and that is that the wage earners in the United States for 2012 and 2011 were given a brief rebate, if you will, on the Social Security tax that's withheld from their earnings. Starting in 2011, there was a 2% reduction in the amount of Social Security withholding that came out of employees' paychecks. So taxpayers across the United States, anybody working or self-employed, got a 2% raise, if you will. And in 2011, that went into effect. So everybody saw that benefit right away with their first paycheck in 2011. At the end of 2011, then the political process began to unfold again, and nobody at the beginning of 2012 wanted to be the person in Washington, D.C. that stood up and said, hey, this is really bankrupting Social Security more than it really should, so we should stop it. Well, 2012 was an election year, and nobody wanted to stand up and do that. So Congress continued that 2% Social Security cut in 2012, but that's going away now in 2013. So employees are now going to see a 2% increase again in their Social Security withholding.
So that's what some people are seeing now. They've got a paycheck saying, wait a minute, I got a raise, but I'm bringing home less money. Exactly,
yeah. And for most taxpayers, it's a sizable amount of money. The average taxpayer being touted in the press and even by members of Congress was that this was going to cost the average taxpayer $1,000 a year.
Should the average taxpayer tackle doing their taxes themselves? Can they do that, or should they seek professional help?
There are a lot of off-the-shelf tax preparation software services now, TurboTax, and then a whole bunch of them that are out there, TaxCut and a bunch of them. You have to be careful, though, because they are automated programs, and they have a listing of questions and queries, and some of them are pretty good and pretty thorough from the standpoint of asking the right questions to steer you through the tax preparation process. But the old computer terminology of garbage in, garbage out really comes into play here, because if you're confused about terminology that's being used in this software, and if you're unsure about a term that's being used, you could very well answer a question incorrectly that winds up with your tax return then being prepared improperly. If the IRS has a means of tying their information that they have in their system to your return, they'll catch a lot of mistakes and send you a notice to correct it. But if it's in a situation where you're understating something that's in the form of a tax credit, where the IRS may not know what the information really is, you could wind up unknowingly decrease the amount of your refund significantly. So there is an inherent danger there. I generally tell people at this point, for the time and the effort and everything else it takes for an average person to do their tax return, that it's generally not money well spent. It's money well spent to get your tax return prepared professionally, because those are the folks who are up on the law changes, which are numerous from year to year.
What does a person need to, whether they're taking it to professional or doing it themselves, what do they need to have to be prepared to get started with it?
There's a temptation on part of a lot of taxpayers that they're anticipating a refund and they're really in a hurry to get their refund going. So they assemble all their information, and typically the information that comes in the form of statements from banks or schools or employers, all of that information is to arrive by the end of January. But in getting that information assembled, I would caution taxpayers not to be in too much of a hurry, because I've seen it many times where somebody's in a hurry to get their return done. They give you the information, you prepare the return, and a week later they give you a call saying, oh, I got another statement in the mail, which now requires the preparation of an amended return. So the important thing in getting your tax return put together and the information that you actually do assemble, in the form of deductions that you're claiming, you need to make sure that you have preferably the canceled check or an invoice, something like that, and you're required to retain that information. The normal statute of limitations is 3 years on a return. I typically tell taxpayers to hold on to their information for a minimum of 5 years, because that 5-year window usually encapsulates the 3-year statute of limitations that the IRS has for returns.
Is the filing dates and everything still the same as they've been in the past, when you have to have it in by, and you have to have it in?
Yes. This year, tax returns will be due on April 15th. And I do want to caution folks from the standpoint of, if you're in a situation where where you're filing your return and you owe money, if you extend your tax return, that is not an extension to allow you to pay the balance due on your return later. All taxes are technically due on April 15th. If you pay after that, then you'll be penalized. You'll be assessed a penalty and interest on the amount of money that was owed for the time period that it's outstanding. Some taxpayers, though, seem to go into a state of denial with money that they owe the IRS, and they don't want to file their tax return when it's due. They owe money, and they're afraid they're going to start getting barraged with notices and inquiries by the IRS, people showing up at their door. So they really go into this state of denial, and they just don't file. And that's the absolute worst thing that can happen, because you not only then owe the tax, but then there are delinquent return penalties that are really excessive and really burdensome, and you really just compound your problems. The IRS is willing to talk with you, and it is for about the last 10 years now. The IRS has kind of adopted the mentality of being a kinder, gentler IRS. They focused more on trying to enhance their tax collections by working with taxpayers than coming out with guys in black cars and knocking on your door and levying bank accounts and making harsh demands, which is kind of the old reputation the IRS has had. If you can't pay your tax on time, file your return on time and enclose a letter to the IRS saying that you're unable to pay the tax right now. They'll open an installment agreement with you and work with you pretty cooperatively. And the cases where I've been involved with taxpayers that have done installment agreements, the IRS has been very cordial to work with, and their main emphasis is collecting the tax. So they'll work with you that way. There'll be a form and an agreement that you'll sign, and that installment agreement remains in place as long as you don't default. And communication really is the key of dealing with the IRS. If you communicate with them and let them know what's going on, they'll find a way to work with you, and you're going to be much better off in the end than just trying to avoid the situation and compounding your problems down the line.
Thanks, Bob. And thanks a lot for coming in and giving us good information. And if somebody needs to get some additional information, probably the best resource for them is the website, the IRS website, or where else would it?
There are IRS hotlines, taxpayer assistance hotlines, which is 800-829-1040. During tax season, that number is very popular, so you're probably going to incur a wait. The IRS website, though, has a great number of resources on it and information, and that's just irs.gov. And there are plenty of forms along with the instructions there that you can find on that website as well.
Bob, thanks so much for the information.
Sure.
Well, believe it or not, a great number of children and adults struggle with literacy here in the United States. St. Charles Community College Learning Specialist Doug Brown is going to talk about literacy and St. Charles Community College's Adult Education and Literacy Program.
I have been with the college for 25 years, and since I have been here, I have been, one of my job descriptions is as the literacy coordinator. And that means that I was involved in literacy all this time, and I can tell you that there is a problem. Many government reports and state reports indicate that in St. Charles, about 4% of people are recognized as illiterate, but there's a larger percentage of people who, while they may be literate, only function at a fairly low level. So those are people who need to improve their ability to function with texts and other kinds of material so that they can make their way through the world. We have a lot of information that we have to deal with every day, and the more literate you are, the better you are in being able to deal with so much documentation that you have to deal with. It really is difficult to function without having a good background or understanding in reading, because the variety of things a typical person deals with can be very challenging. We attempt to try to help people to improve their literacy, and that's what the mission of the program has been. The college has been committed to offering adult education since I've been here. It's been one of the missions of the college to do that. And the program we are currently offering is called AEL, Adult Education Literacy. It serves people who want to get their GED, people who want to master English, that is, people who do not speak English as their first language, and people who want to just improve their reading skills. So those are the three kinds of people we see. And we have a large program that covers 4 counties. We offer classes in GED here at the campus and in many off-campus sites, and we offer ESL classes also here as well. So we're trying to serve the community that way by giving people an opportunity to do these things, and they wouldn't have an opportunity in any other institution to master skills that are important. When you come to a class, you can expect to have a very professional, serious experience. The teachers will do everything they can to help you. The purpose of coming to these classes is to improve your skills. If you want to get the GED, the teachers here will be very helpful in trying to explain the test to you and present the information in a way that you can understand. For ESL students, English as a second language, they will help you master English at whatever level you may be. You may be a newcomer to America, you may have very little English, or you may be a person who just wants to improve English to the point where you can take classes here or at some other institution. And that's basically what we try to offer to people. And I should mention that these classes are free. There is no charge for doing this. If people want to sign up, the best thing they can do is check our website, which is www.stchaz.edu/AEL, or they can call and get a direct contact to our AEL program, 636-922-8411. Any questions you might have, they will answer immediately, and you'll be able to know what we have to offer. The adult education program is designed for anyone from 16 to 80 or beyond who needs help and maybe has a goal to get a GED in order to go on to a college career, or to just get that degree because they failed to do it sometime in the past and they've always wanted to try to do that. So that's the effort that we have as a community college. So we have credit classes for all of the college students who come here, but in addition we have adult ed for people who are not ready for college yet but have to get their GED, or people who are just interested in improving themselves in some way.
Thanks, Doug. We'll be right back.
"7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them."
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Welcome back. Let's join Mary Grau with the St. Charles County Department of Community Health with some outdoor safety information.
In order to prevent mishaps, accidents, injuries, those types of things, the most effective way to be safe is to adequately prepare ourselves and to have knowledge of the area, the weather, the terrain, limitations of your body. A little common sense goes a long way and makes for a safe and happy outdoor outing. There are 3 different types of ultraviolet rays: UVC, UVA, and UVB. The UVC is not a concern according to the American Cancer Skin Foundation. The UVA rays are the ones that account for 95% of the radiation. So we need to use a lotion, cream of some sort with a skin protection factor involved. So we're looking at about a 30 on a skin protection factor. That's the main thing that you need to be aware of. And also, especially during the winter, we need to be aware that we should use sun protection factor lotions and creams to protect us from the sun, because it will reflect off the snow. We get much more reflection from the snow, about 95%, that can cause a sunburn, even in the wintertime. So that's something to consider. And on a cloudy day also, it's very good idea to use these products. In Missouri, we have over 47 species of snakes. The habitat for those, about 88% are harmless. So it's really important to remember, don't be afraid of all snakes, because there are some that are good and we do need those in our habitats. Spiders, there are some that are dangerous. We need to be aware of that. Ticks, of course, we know those carry diseases and can make us very ill. We have a lot of good information here at the health department concerning West Nile virus, Lyme disease, those types of things that ticks carry. Also, we have to think about mosquitoes. Insect repellents are really important when you're outdoors to prevent any bites from the mosquitoes, and also tick attachments. So that's something to be concerned with. Of course, there's nothing like going out into a woodland, a landscape, and seeing all the beautiful greenery. You must be aware, though, because there are 3 different types of poison plants that can cause an irritating rash on your skin and can get quite bad sometimes. It really can. Poison ivy, it's a 3-leaf plant, pretty shiny in color. It's very easily identified. We also have poison oak and poison sumac. Now, poison oak is similar to poison ivy in its growth, but it's more in around trees. So you don't see that on the outlying areas like poison ivy, but the poison oak is more around the trees. Poison sumac is in itself a plant, and it looks more like a bush in nature. And those grow in more like swampy marshland areas. So those are the 3 things to be aware of. Well, of course, when you're out and about outside, it's always a good idea to have a plan for an emergency evacuation. Say you're out camping somewhere along a riverside and it rains, the rivers are going to come up really fast, so you need to have a plan to evacuate the area if something like that would happen. Also, A first aid kit, you should always carry a first aid kit. There's some really good information. American Red Cross has a website that has information on putting together a first aid kit. Really inexpensive, but necessary. Also, for emergency planning, even in your own home, it's a good idea to have a kit put together. And here at the health department, we do have pamphlets. Ready in 3 is what we call it. So those are the things that you can do. Also, websites are available. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services is a good source of information. And of course, St. Charles County Health Department, we have our own website that has good information. Here at the health department, we have many good pamphlets available, information on tick-borne illnesses like West Nile virus, Lyme disease. Also, very good information, how to remove a tick, because that's really important information, and we have those also. If you have any questions, of course, call us here at 636-949-7400. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And also, the pamphlets are available throughout our building. We have sites on the upper and lower level where they're available.
Thanks, Mary. Joining me now is Mission Clean Stream Coordinator Charlene Waggoner, who is with Greenway Network, and she has all the information on Mission Clean Stream and how you can get involved. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
What is Mission Clean Stream and what used to be known as Operation Clean Stream, or what's the connection there?
Mission Clean Stream today is a county-wide effort involving 7 communities, the county, numerous organizations, and other government entities that fans out across St. Charles County to clean up trash from our rivers and streams. We got our start many, many years ago from Operation Clean Stream, which is a project run by Open Space Council. They've been doing it forever. They're the experts, and we've learned from the best. As we have changed our mission and added educational and art activities, we felt it was time for a little bit of a name change to reflect that broader mission.
Now, who else is involved with that? And there's companies and other things, other government entities. Who else is involved with this mission?
We have 7 of the municipalities in St. Charles County that have been actively involved since the very beginning. We have the Soil and Water Conservation District, the Missouri River Relief Team, the guys who bring the boats out and do the cleaning on the Missouri River are involved. We've recently added sites at the Big Muddy National Wildlife Refuge at Grau Island, so Fish and Wildlife Service is involved as well, and then the county and numerous other organizations.
Do you plan specific events to go out and clean a specific stream?
We do this all in one day. April 6th, we'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 volunteers fan out from Grau Island to Wentzville, and they will clean up anywhere from 7 to 14 tons of trash.
And this is known as your Earth Day?
That is known as our Mission Clean Stream, but we've added Earth Day to it by bringing in our new partner,
there we go.
General Motors.
Oh, okay. So tell us a little bit about that.
General Motors has for a number of years had an Earth Day event at their plant in Wentzville, and many of the same groups and organizations that have been involved in Clean Stream have always participated in that. But as you might imagine, April can be a very busy month for environmental groups, and as we talked about how to enhance both projects, we said, let's just get together. So now we're going to have one of our rendezvous sites be at the General Motors plant in Wentzville, and that's going to be the site of our luncheon and our festival where we do our Stream Trash Art Project, and where we'll have a big festival for people who are interested and curious but maybe not necessarily ready to get out into the streams or not necessarily able to get out into the streams.
It sounds like it's a great group that has the same idea or mission in mind. It's the cleaning of the streams in the area. Do you find it to be a big problem in the St. Charles County?
It's getting better. I mean, our goal is to put ourselves out of business, basically, and for a number of years we were watching a decline, and as we clean up some of the historic sites, the old tire dumps, the old dumping grounds, we're seeing less and less of that heavy-duty, long-term trash, but we still see an awful lot of the water bottles and the paper and the more ephemeral trash that people are throwing out now.
Now, say I want to be a part of this. How do I get to become a part of it and go out and help clean the stream?
You'll need to register. Each community and site has its own registration. All of that information is available on our website, greenwaynetwork.org. And you'll call your city council or your city hall and register for your particular site. They'll give you all the information necessary. We just ask that you dress for the weather, wear real shoes, and plan to get muddy.
Is there any type of training or safety training that's involved
We
in it?
do have a safety talk for you that morning. We do provide as much as possible gloves. We'll have the bags and equipment for you, but we don't use a lot of heavy equipment. We don't want to be digging up the streams. We want to just pick the stuff that can be picked up off the surface.
It sounds like a great event with a great cause. Have you got anything else you'd like to leave us with the upcoming activities and that?
Really looking forward to seeing people come out to Wentzville to see the stream trash art, to see these sculptures being made from the trash as part of the educational aspect of the program. And we're really looking forward to a great day of cleaning streams.
Charlene, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. Spring is right around the corner, and that means it's time for spring cleaning. While spring cleaning, you may come across some hazardous household materials. Here to tell us how to properly handle those hazardous materials is Division Director Ryan Tilley.
It's that time of the year again to do some spring cleaning. So when doing spring cleaning and you want to throw out household hazardous chemicals, you want to make sure that you first check the chemical label and see what the label says as far as how to throw the items away and where you can throw them away at. You make sure that you read the label and look for words like caution, warning, danger, and poison. Those words will tell you how dangerous the chemical is and what you need to do with it. Hazardous chemicals are things that are going to be labeled danger and toxic. And those chemicals you want to make sure that you bring to the recycling center to have them recycled in a proper, environmentally safe way. Hazardous chemicals should not be dumped down the drain or put into the trash can. The reason why is because those type of chemicals are hazardous to the environment and hazardous to human health. So those should always be taken to a recycling center's emergency drop-off center. They are also dangerous to the environment, to wildlife, to plant life. So make sure that you don't pour them down storm drains or things like that, and always dispose of them properly. So if you're doing some spring cleaning and you find a chemical that's still usable, make sure that you first store it in a proper manner where you're storing light chemicals with other light chemicals. So for example, you might want to store your pesticides with your herbicides, or your corrosive material like oven cleaners with other corrosive materials like bleach, so that you have light chemicals stored together. Also make sure that you store chemicals according to their label. So read the label carefully to see if that chemical can be stored outside in extreme weather, or if it's a chemical that should be stored inside under a temperature controlled environment. If your household hazardous waste is no longer usable and you want to dispose of it somewhere, you can bring it to Recycle Works Central, located at 60 Triad South Drive, St. Charles, Missouri 63304. Our hazardous waste chemical collection event runs from April through October, from Tuesday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also, we hold it on the last Saturday of the month. St. Charles County Recycle Center is the only center in the county where you can drop off household hazardous waste. We're very proud of that, and we hope to continue that for many years to come. The reason we're able to accept household hazardous waste and other recycling centers are not, or other cities or counties are not able to, is because here at Recycle Works Central we have a bunker that's specifically made for household hazardous waste. The bunker is leak-proof. It's explosion resistant and fire resistant, so that if something were to mix together or react with one another, it would not cause a big scene or explosion that could damage structures and building and people. So the bunker really helps to contain the hazardous waste and stores it temporarily until we're able to ship it off and get rid of it. During transportation of your household chemicals to the recycling center, make sure that you secure them safely so that they don't leak or spill. So screw the lid on tightly, put them in a box that won't fall over or spill, and then possibly put newspaper in the box surrounding the chemicals to keep them snug and tight from spilling. You can transport that in the trunk of your car, or if you have a truck that's open to the air, that's acceptable as well. When you get to the center, one of the staff members will come out and assist you and take that chemical out of your vehicle for you. Also make sure that you never mix chemicals, so don't take the product out of its original container and mix it with another product. We want to make sure that the chemicals that you bring in, that the labels are properly secured to that chemical so that we know what it is and so that we can protect ourselves as we handle the material. To drop off the chemicals, we charge a very small fee of $10, and that helps us with offsetting the cost of processing the material, handling it, and then shipping it out. We charge $10 to collect the household hazardous waste per carload. That carload has to have less than 50 pounds. If you go over the 50 pounds, it's a little extra past the $10 charge. If someone would like to learn more about our recycling centers or about the Household Hazardous Waste Collection event, they can go to our website at www.scchealth.org, or they can give us a call at 636-949-1800.
Thanks, Ryan. That's all the time we have today. Please join us next time for more information to help keep you safe and sound.